Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, as we learn from St. Augustine, Doctor of the Church, while we read his book, Confessions. Welcome, fellow pilgrims, to Book 2. In this book, we are going to hear about how St. Augustine spends a year at home before going to Carthage for his studies. He's going to talk probably a lot about how he lived a very lustful lifestyle, and we will hear the famous story of the robbing of the pear tree. We will be reading today from Book 2, Chapter 1, and we can find that on page 43. I must now carry my thoughts back to the abominable things I did in those days, the sins of the flesh which defiled my soul. I do this, my God, not because I love those sins, but so that I may love you. For love of your love, I shall retrace my wicked ways. The memory is bitter, but it will help me to savor your sweetness, the sweetness that does not deceive but brings real joy and never fails. For love of your love, I shall retrieve myself from the havoc of disruption which tore me to pieces when I turned away from you, whom alone I should have sought, and lost myself instead on many a different quest. For as I grew to manhood, I was inflamed with desire for a surfeit of hell's pleasures. Foolhardy as I was, I ran wild with lust that was manifold and rank. In your eyes my beauty vanished, and I was foul to the core. Yet I was pleased with my own condition and anxious to be pleasing in the eyes of men. Well, if you ever wondered why the book is called Confessions, I think you are beginning to see why. From today's reading, there may be a tendency to think that once again, St. Augustine is being very hard on himself. Here he is, digging up old sins. Shouldn't he just leave them in the past? Yes and no. Yes, in that sins confessed and forgiven should not be stressed over anymore. If we have made a good confession, received absolution, then those sins are like a grain of sand tossed in the ocean. They are engulfed in God's mercy and do not need to be a burden anymore. No, in that it is good to look how far we've come when we've had a true conversion. I know that I often look back on the person I was in my late teens through my 20s and even into my 30s, and I am extremely grateful for the amazing work that grace has done in my life. And no matter what, we should always think of our sin with sorrow if we've had true contrition. It's not as if we should have a flippant attitude for our past sins or present sins, for that matter. Satan loves to use past sins against us. And as you know, he is the great accuser. But if they have been forgiven, trust in God's forgiveness and mercy. Have sorrow that you have offended God, but do not dwell forever on them. We will pause here for today. I will see you tomorrow, and until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.